Hi everybody, Sarah from SUPjunkie here, and I am joined by Jo Jones and Emily Evans. Welcome to the show, guys. Great to
Hello.
have you on. Hi.
Thank you very
Um,
much.
my pleasure. Now, the reason we're doing this interview is because they have both competed very recently at the Welsh Qualifiers at Fishguard, and I wanted to talk to them about the event and where it goes from here and how it went for them on the day. But before I do that, can I just ask you both to give the viewers, if they don't know who you are, and I hope they do, but if they don't, can I ask you to just give a little brief idea of who you are, where you live, what paddling you do? Ladies first, Emily.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so yeah, I'm Emily. I live in Barry Island in South Wales, and I've been stand-up paddleboarding since 2017. Started off with some I don't know, fairly low-key races, and just kind of really got the bug for it. And yeah, I guess with that competitive nature, just found myself wanting to train more and be better. Yeah, so that's.
And you have got a little bit of history behind you, haven't you, with water skills, with other
Yeah.
sports? So can you just give us a tiny bit of flavour of that?
Yeah, sure. So I started off kayaking and did that throughout my teenage years. Taught kayaking and to whitewater level as well, and then went into whitewater rafting, where I worked as a whitewater raft guide, and then competed with the GB women's rafting team. So yeah, we won the World Championships in whitewater rafting in 2016, and then the European Championships in 2018. So yeah, stand-up paddleboarding was really like the cross training for whitewater rafting because we couldn't meet all the time. So yeah, then and then that kind of the team dissipated a little bit during COVID. I think they've come back together now, but I've kind of stuck with the stand-up paddleboarding because yeah, I love it. Got the bug for it.
Brilliant. Thank you, Emily. And Jo, what about you? What's your sort of, where, tell us a little bit about you and what if you've done any previous sports, water sports or others as well.
So I'm based in Swansea and I paddle in Swansea. I got into paddleboarding when I was about 15, so 2015. As like a way, so I played rugby and the stand-up paddleboarding was like I just thought it was a good core exercise and I had a few shoulder injuries. I just thought it was a good like rehab for that kind of that sport. Unfortunately, at 2018, I had a few more shoulder injuries. I had to give up the rugby side of things, but kind of just training, doing the paddleboard, I kind of fell in love, especially around Swansea, where you've got the Gower and like all that sort of area paddling, and yeah, just be on the ocean, it's just incredible. And as much as I miss rugby now, but I got such a passion for just being out in the water, especially like it's really taken off since COVID. Had a couple of shoulder surgeries, but hopefully this will be my first year where I just take it a bit more seriously.
Brilliant. And now viewers, hopefully, if you just scroll back a little bit, you'll see the way Joe's face absolutely lit up when he was talking about stand-up paddleboarding. It just came alive, Joe, and I know that you're super passionate, and that's why we wanted to have you on here today. So let's talk about the Welsh selection. Emily, you might be able to help out here because this is done through Canoe Wales, am I right?
Yes, yeah. So the process to bring the selection event to Wales was actually quite a lengthy process. Excuse me. So I actually started with a lot of chats with Welsh Surfing Federation and working with them very closely to kind of come up with like responsibilities between Welsh Surfing and Canoe Wales because of the governance of stand-up paddleboarding. So yeah, so once they were happy with us choosing the qualifying events, then that was kind of a case of finding an event, and the organisers of the Fishguard Bay race are just so enthusiastic, like Benjamin and Martin, they're absolutely amazing. So kind of approached them about holding the SUP championships there, because it's the race that they do is already a championships for the wave skis, so a Welsh event, sorry. So it just made sense that like potentially that could all come under one banner. So yeah, so they were delighted. Welsh Surfing were happy. So Canoe Wales and Welsh Surfing and Martin and Benjamin kind of all teamed up together to put this put it on as a championships. Although SUPs have been involved at that race for like a few years now, so hopefully over the next few years it's going to be a chance for it to build. And so Emily King took on the responsibility of like continuing to organise that event. And it was wonderful. It was kind of quite low key for stand-up paddle boards because it's quite a technical event, but perfect for the championships. And it was really, really well organised.
Brilliant. Well, it's a race that I have never quite got to. I know it's, as you say, it's involved SUP for quite a few years now. And I know Martin of old, he's one of the OGs of the sport and an absolute gentleman. And it would be really nice to go up and support the event, but it just hasn't happened for me. And it's stunning up there, isn't it? I mean, you know, the whole of Wales is stunning in my opinion. It's my second home, but what a great event to take on these qualifiers. I think that's really, really exciting. Now, going back to the process, and this is really for people who don't particularly know. When you enter an event, do you at that time suggest that you would like to be considered for going to the World Championships and you have to show your intention? Is that how it works? Joe, is that something you can answer?
Yeah, so leading up to this event, so Emily King's been coaching me and I've mentioned to her that this is something that I'd be interested in. So we had the conversation, I sent the email saying that this is definitely something that I'd like to do. There's probably a couple, 2-3 weeks before the event actually happened. So there's no lead up for it.
Okay, exciting. And Emily, and I'm guessing with both of you, you showed your intention that you want to qualify for the team because it's home nation teams for the ISA this year, isn't it? And actually, we've known that. I mean, historically, it's always taken a long, long time for us to find out whether it's home nation or the GB. Crowd, but this year it seems to have, we seem to have had that news pretty early, which I think is really, really helpful, isn't it, for organisers, paddlers? You know where you stand, and you know what's coming, basically. So let's talk about Fishguard on the day. It's an ocean, as you say, an ocean ski race, and I know from previous events that it can be pretty gnarly up there. It was a 2-day event, and I think on day one, Saturday, the weather didn't really play ball for the stand-up paddleboarders. Is that right, Emily?
Yes, the conditions were a little bit too wild, really, for stand-up paddleboarding that day. So it was a bit too windy. It was a bit too swelly. I think it was perfect for the wave ski race, but just a little bit too, a bit too out of reach for stand-up paddleboards. So it would have been amazing, but I think conditions on the Sunday were a bit more favourable. So the distance race was moved, or the qualification event was moved to the Sunday, which Joe took part in. I didn't actually take part in that one, so Joe can give us a rundown on that.
Yeah,
that would be lovely. Joe, can you tell us about the distance race, please?
Yeah. So I took part in the distance race, and so this is the second year that I've done the race, and I can tell you that this year was a hell of a lot harder than last year. I think going into last year is quite fit. Like, that was really nice conditions. There's a downwinder into Dean's Point, and then it was just smooth sailing past Dean's. This year, completely different race. So they changed the route as well, so it's more of a direct line towards Dean's Point. So it's about half the race, and that entire time you've just got like a waist high cross chop coming through, and unfortunately I probably fell in about a dozen times just on that half of the race. And yeah, there's a part of the reason I love that kind of race. It's almost like a puzzle, because as you're going through it, you're trying to work out, okay, where do I need to be on the board? Like, if I stand here, am I just going to get sent in? Is the thing going to get wiped out? It's just a challenge, like physically, mentally. That's like probably the first time where I've like kind of got to part of the race. I was like, am I going to finish this? Do I need to kind of look at my safe points now? But absolutely incredible that just working through that, and then once as soon as you get past Dinas, it turns into just a downwinder, and you're picking up bumps, picking up little waves. It's like, this is brilliant fun. You feel the board pick up. Yeah, just completely. Even in the same race, you feel like you're doing two different races, just because of how much that change of direction. Like as soon as you get past Dinas, yeah, so much fun.
Brilliant. That's really good to hear, because we know that there are an awful lot of paddlers who do not get on the sea, and they really struggle with conditions, and it really sort of almost freaks them out. And they always ask the question, what do I do to get better on the sea? And we always say to them, get on the sea. It's that simple. Make sure you're in a safe environment, of course. And actually, if you go to like a GB Sup race and it's on the ocean, go there. You've got the safety cover, get out there. You have to expose yourself to those conditions. Because equally, if you want to represent your country, then you could well be faced with those conditions. There's no point in being on a river or a lake and testing yourself and being the winner and qualifying, and then coming across some very gnarly conditions, elsewhere. So Emily, did we have tech and sprints as well? And what did you go for?
Yeah, so I entered the tech and the sprint event, which actually historically in international competition is my more favourable events anyway, and I do better in them, so I just chose to put all of my energy into that. We had the organisers set the course on the Sunday afternoon after the distance race, and yeah, I must just say, it was all run by volunteers, all the timers, so they did a fantastic job, and an absolute huge thank you to them for extending their days. It's 2 big days anyway for them, so they timed the technical and the sprint event for us after as well. So the technical was super technical actually. We had a lot of cross swell, a lot of crosswind, and it kind of really forced you to think about how the water was moving and the wind was moving to make the turns. And I think it was especially tough for those that took part in the distance race. So yeah, that was really good. And then we had a sprint event, and that was kind of out through the waves and a turn and come back to the beach, a little run up the beach. So yeah, I think everyone really enjoyed those. Some really great paddling from everyone in really rough conditions. So yeah, super good. Yeah, really good fun.
Cool. And where did you? Oh, sorry, Joe. Carry on.
Just to say, I think we can add to it's just such a beautiful place to be doing it. Newport was absolutely stunning on the day.
Yeah, well, we will definitely get up there one day soon. I know it. I know it will be wonderful. So Emily, where did you place in your 2 events, please?
So I won the technical and the sprint. So hopefully that will give me a place on the Welsh team. We're actually still waiting at the moment just for everything to be completely finalised. But yeah, so hopefully that will lead to a team place.
Brilliant. Well, congratulations. And Joe, what about you? How did you place in your event?
In the distance race, I came 3rd. Paul and John, they absolutely smashed it on the distance. They were awesome. And then during the technical, so it's the first technical race I've done. And I think coming off the back of the distance, I decided, okay, I'll give it a go. And I ended up pulling out towards the end, pulling out halfway through the race, just because I think I was tired. I thought I'll focus on the sprint. And then I won it in the sprint. So I came first in the sprint.
Fabulous, well done. And I know that John, you're referring to as Jonathan Sherwin, isn't it? Nicknamed Jonathan Sherwin, because he is just actually qualified for the Scottish team, hasn't he? So
yeah, that's
it'd be great to be racing against him. So Emily, the next question I was going to ask actually was, when do you hear whatever? But obviously it's a process again. You have to wait. They have to be absolutely sure of criteria, I guess, and whether you can actually, whether you are legally allowed to race for Wales, even though you've shown your intentions. So do you have any indication of when that announcement might be?
No, I'm not too sure yet, but I think it should be imminent. And the deadline I had a little look today, the deadline for registrations for Copenhagen is the 22nd of August. So I'm sure we'll be getting our entries in soon. Yeah.
Yeah, because you need to, obviously the next process is planning for that trip,
100%.
isn't it? You know, it's and we know from many years of trying to get help for paddlers like yourselves. It's a big deal. It's, you know, you are very much self-funded. I think over, you know, the next couple of years, I think that might change, and hopefully it might change this year. You know, even if it's an entry fee or something, you know, that would be great. But we do know it's very, very tough for the paddlers financially. They're generally self-funded. They have to get themselves there, pay for their hotel room, entry fees and everything. And it's all done with the love. And obviously you've got to work around your jobs as well. So, and also train flipping hard, because you have got, you know, hopefully you're qualified for that event. Joe, what are your training thoughts, you know, over the next couple of months, you know, presuming that you're there or you're going, what would change for you?
So definitely for me, I think I'll change kind of like what I'm doing. So I paddle in the ocean quite a lot anyway. But I think some of those like gnarlier conditions, I'll probably change my approach to them. So I think because I really enjoyed like upwind, downwind. I think that helped me on the weekend. But you know, when the first half of the race is side chop, I think I got to just look at it and be like, okay, it looks lovely for an upwind, downwind right now, but I'd probably better take this as a side chop and just learn the board, learn the tactics I need to take forward. And yeah, just make the most of the Swansea weather as well at the same time.
Yep, we are currently being blessed with great weather. It's taken a flipping long time. I mean, gosh, we're middle of June and I think summer might just have arrived. So, Emily, what about you? You've competed abroad. You competed internationally anyway. So you're a little bit maybe ahead of Joe. I hope you can give him some helpful advice about training, and obviously he's got the other Emily as well to help him there. But how does this affect your day-to-day training now? Your focus now on, you know, going to Copenhagen, and what changes, if anything, or does it not change at all?
Well, it feels like nice to have like a specific focus, because the last time I went to an international competition, or when I went to Denmark for the Europeans before, I took part in all of the events. So kind of just needed like general, very good fitness. But now I know that I can tailor my training a little bit more to the technical and sprint, which is a bit shorter and it's pretty high intensity. So I kind of thought, so it's actually really nice, that I know that I can go out and do just technical sessions, which I really enjoy, the super hard work and sprint sessions and what have you, and just kind of hone that in. So that's really good. And I think like from like Joe's perspective as well, like he's coming from a competition swimming like background as well. So he's going to have bring all of that knowledge to the party, you know, like work that I brought from the rafting as well. So it's really nice it's really nice. It'd be really nice for him to transfer those skills like over to the SUP competitions.
Yeah, that's very interesting. You didn't tell us about that, Joe. So have you competed internationally with swimming?
No, so I don't. So I haven't competed in swimming, but I do strength positioning, and
okay.
so I do. I do I've worked with a couple like Wales internationals and one or two Olympians, so I understand like that side of training as well. Just need to start applying it to myself probably a bit more as well. And if I can help it.
Sorry, Joe, you must have got the wrong end of the stick there, but you're still involved in the swimming comp. So
we thought you were hiding something from us there, Joe. But never mind. Now that sounds great, actually. So that you clearly know your stuff and you know what you're doing. So that's you're ahead of the game. You know, ahead of many people's game in that. If you do both go, what is it that people can do to help you? Would you do any crowdfunding or anything? Have you thought that far ahead? I know that the Scottish team are doing that right now, and we've been trying to share that information for them. You know, any little helps, as we know. Is that something that is being considered, Emily? Do you know? You know, personally or on a wider scale?
I've had a few people mention it to me, perhaps a crowdfunder. I think once we get the confirmation from Welsh Surfing and Canoe Wales, then we can definitely get that going. I mean, it's quite the entry fees are probably the biggest expense, being about €250 per event. So yeah, so maybe like keep an eye out for anything, you know. I think it was a pretty successful raffle and fundraiser for the English team last year. And yeah, everyone's support would mean like so much. I mean, even if it's just like messages as well, messages of support. Like when I was in Denmark before, it was just amazing to have everyone's support, and I felt like lifted the whole way through the competition. So yeah, so that's brilliant on its own.
That is brilliant to hear. Actually, it's not just about any financial help, is it? It's about that support that people can give back at home, and really, you know, it's like racing, isn't it? When you get to the end of a race and someone's shouting your name, you really paddle faster, you know. And I guess it's like that as well with your, you know, messages of support. Now, Jo, we're very aware that you have to go, but do you know, I'm almost done with my questions, which is really good. We've really whipped through this. Are there any people that you would like to thank along the way, you know, who've been helping you, or board, you know, Emily, are you sponsored? Have you got a board sponsor, or are you floating about a bit using different boards?
Yeah, not on the board front, but yeah, I must say a huge thank you to Blackfish Paddles. So I think this is possibly the 3rd or 4th year that they have supported me, and it's really lovely. They just kind of put the trust in you that you are, you know, you're kind of like doing your thing, and it's really lovely, and they're so chatty on the phone, and the kit is absolutely amazing. Like, to have comfortable kit is, you know, I always feed that back to them as well. So yeah, massive shout out to Blackfish, and then Gareth from Get on the Water in Cardiff, who is the main link between Blackfish as well. So
he's a very good man, isn't it? It's nice to have him sort of, you know, there and thereabouts for you guys. Jo, what about you? Who would you like to thank before you disappear to go training?
So to thank our staff, I've got to thank the support my parents given me. My mum loves coming to all the races, and I think she loves looking at your channels as well. And like, again, thank you to you for being able to let her see all that. Thanks to my dad, because he's getting involved with the racing as well, doing the challenge tour. A massive thank you to Emily King, because she got me into this world, and like with the whole paddling side of things, and teaching me just so much into this side. It's incredible. Yeah, so they're the main people I'd love to thank, and I could probably add a thank you to Black Project, who've helped me out this week. So ready for getting ready for Falmouth next week. So I met up with Chris. Yeah, so they're the main guys I'd love to say thank you to.
Brilliant. And are you both going to Falmouth? That was going to be my next question.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Good. Emily?
Yeah, I'm going to be there. I'm really looking forward to it. And yeah, if I just kind of echo like Jo's words there, just to big thank you to Emily King as well for like being a bit of backbone behind the Welsh qualifier, to be honest, and yeah, kind of really pulling that off for us to have the qualifier there. She did an excellent job along with the organisers, Martin and Ben. So huge thank you to those guys.
Yeah, Emily's a very good egg. Thank you, Emily, from all of us, actually. All right, guys, I'm going to cut it right now. Great to talk to you both. I am so excited that you will hopefully be getting your places announced to you, and great paddling here. Fingers crossed, Jo. I think it's a no-brainer. And I can't wait to see you both in Falmouth very soon. And thank you so much for your time tonight. Thank you.
Nice, thanks.
Thank you. Lovely speaking.
Thanks, Sarah. Bye.
Thank you.